Hello there! Our film starts with an armed group standing in front of a bank, preparing to carry out a heist. The person driving the car containing the gang is a young man named Bebe. At first glance, Bebe appears calm and collected, despite his involvement with dangerous gangs. He listens to a new song on the radio as the gang begins their mission. Minutes later, Bebe arrives in front of the bank just as the gang exits after robbing it. This is where Bebe's mission begins. He must help the gang escape from the police without leaving any traces or evidence behind. As Bebe evades the police, he maneuvers through the streets with remarkable skill. He seems to anticipate the police's every move, all while listening to loud music through his headphones. Despite the police's best efforts to capture him, Bebe manages to escape and leads the gang far away from law enforcement. The Arab gang members, who were fleeing with Bebe, continue on their way to their hideout. Bebe stops to buy coffee for all the gang members and then returns to their headquarters. There, the gang leader divides the stolen money equally among the members. However, one member becomes agitated because Bebe is receiving an equal share, even though he doesn't seem to belong with the gang. Bebe is exposed to danger just like the rest of them, but the gang leader reassures him that Bebe's role is essential, as he alone can help them safely evade the police. As the days go by, Bebe continues to help the gang escape from the police with his exceptional driving skills. He navigates the streets with expertise despite blaring music in his ears. He doesn't react to provocations from his fellow gang members, who believe he resembles individuals with mental disabilities due to his constant headphone usage. One day, he is entrusted with the task of recording the gang's conversations on a small recorder, which he blends with their music, turning them into new songs and tunes. One day, Bebe stumbles upon a cassette tape in his mother's voice. This triggers memories of a tragic incident when he was younger. His mother had crashed their car in a heated argument with her father, resulting in her and Bebe's father losing their lives in the accident. Only Bebe survived. Bebe's life is disrupted when he sees a news report featuring a picture of him, labeling him as a criminal wanted by the police. His adopted father, who is deaf and mute, questions Bebe about the source of the money he keeps accumulating, but Bebe doesn't provide an answer. The next day, Bebe visits a nearby restaurant where he encounters a young girl singing one of his favorite songs. She approaches Bebe and asks if they should place an order. Bebe realizes that she works at the restaurant and tries to engage in conversation with her. She questions him about his recorder and learns that he works as a driver. When the gang leader calls him and informs him of a new mission, Bebe must leave the restaurant, but he can't help but think about the girl and the song she sang. Later, Bebe is interrupted by a phone call from Doc, who is impressed with Bebe's professionalism and mentions that he saved him from the police 10 years ago. Despite Bebe's young age at the time, he managed to steal an important document from Doc's car and elude capture by the police. However, Bebe's actions have left Doc indebted to him due to the lost documents. Since then, Bebe has been associated with Doc and the main driver for their gang. Is this okay for you? This sets the stage for Bebe's last mission and is desire to clear what saves them and all the robberies, and the one constant member in the gang who changes in each operation is Bebe. When someone asks about the headphones that Bebe always wears, he repeats the story that he has had hearing problems since childhood due to an accident. Since that incident, he has been listening to music most of the time to drown out the ringing in his ears. Dr. K, as he is known, begins explaining the plan and the entry and escape strategy. After finishing the explanation, he expresses confidence that Bebe didn't hear a word of it due to his preoccupation with the music. However, they are surprised when Bebe responds. Every word Dr. K uttered as part of the plan, Bebe remembers it precisely, as he is adept at lip reading. When the time for the operation comes, Bebe guides them, ensuring their escape. At times, he gets nervous, like when he spots a police officer ahead. However, the officer turns out to be a decoy. Still, Bebe kills the officer to avoid any risk, and they manage to escape safely. Afterward, Bebe continues to help the gang, and they become confident that he is indispensable. Bebe shares the wealth from their heists equally among the gang members. Dr. K sees this as Bebe paying off his debt. With his job done, Bebe decides to stop working with the gang, and they give him his share of the heist's earnings. He disposes of the car, which contains the body of the criminal whose gun fell during their escape, and Bebe rids himself of all connections to the gang. Bebe decides to visit the restaurant again, where he encounters the girl named Deborah, whom he affectionately calls Dee. He offers to take her out for the weekend, and she agrees. They start getting to know each other better. Bebe learns that she is an orphan, her mother having passed away due to illness. Bebe fulfills Dobra's wishes by buying a luxurious car with his earnings from his new job as a delivery driver at a pizza restaurant. He loves his new job, as it aligns with his passion for driving. On weekends, he takes Dobra for drives around the city while playing music loudly. One day, the restaurant's waiter informs Bebe that the bill has been paid by someone in the restaurant, leaving him puzzled. A man recognizes Bebe, and Bebe recognizes him as Doc. Doc tells Bebe that he needs him for an upcoming mission, emphasizing that he can't trust anyone else. When Bebe declines, Doc threatens to harm his adoptive father. Realizing he has no choice, Bebe reluctantly agrees. Doc assures him that his adopted father will be safe. Bebe explains to Dobra, who still doesn't know about his criminal past, that he must leave with Doc but will return later. She understands and asks him to return safely. The next day, Doc picks up Bebe and instructs him to explore the bank they are planning to rob. Bebe's keen observation and ability to read lips help him gather crucial information. He brings along his son to avoid suspicion. As Bebe enters the bank, he feels tense, but his son helps him remain calm by collecting information and contacting the gang from the restaurant. Bebe continues to monitor Dobra's well-being and assures her that he is nearby. He promises to buy her the car she dreams of and take her out for a drive in the city. After this mission, they plan to leave the city for good. After that, Dr. K and Bebe head to the gang's hideout. Dr. K informs Bebe about the new operation. Bebe and his wife, who had previously participated in an operation with Bebe, are presented with Dr. K's plan for the new operation. However, they require modern weapons for the job. Bebe tells them he has arranged for someone to provide the necessary weapons, and that they must go to collect them today. Afterward, he returns to the hideout. They meet with the arms-dealing gang to decide on the type of weapons to purchase. Suddenly, a member of the arms gang insults Bebe, leading to a heated confrontation and gunfire. Despite the surprise attack, Bebe and his associates manage to secure the weapons, but tensions rise due to their reckless behavior. Meanwhile, Bebe remains hidden next to the car, fearful due to the sudden gunfire. After the gang resolves the conflict, they leave with the weapons, leaving Bebe alone and anxious. However, Bebe insists on stopping at the restaurant as he is hungry. Bebe hides near the car, fearing the sudden gunfire earlier. When the gang completes their mission and returns to the hideout, they find 16 police officers approaching them. Bebe warns them discreetly, urging them to flee quickly. The situation becomes tense, and the gang opens fire on the approaching police officers. A standoff ensues, and Bebe tries to explain to the police officers that his hobby involves mixing sounds with music. However, they dismiss it as a flimsy excuse and deliver a powerful blow to Bebe, causing him to faint. When Bebe regains consciousness, he finds himself bound, but they have not killed him. They recognize that it was just a hobby and stage a diversion. Dee, who also works at the restaurant, is there and plays along. When Bat threatens to kill her, they stop him. Bebe realizes they have managed to negotiate the terms and survive. The police officers tell Bebe to leave and never report them. Doc agrees, and the next day, Bebe arrives at the bank. As they complete their operation, Bebe watches from afar and warns Dee when he sees 16 officers approaching. She panics and runs to call the officer, who arrives just as the gang exits the bank after the robbery, and he opens fire. The police officer, upon his return, Baby informs Doc that he usually contacts the gang leader after each operation, but this time he hasn't heard from him yet. This suggests something catastrophic has occurred. Doc reveals that the gang leader was an undercover police officer, and Bebe admits he knew, but explains that the officer was working for them and had betrayed them first, leading to the tragedy. Doc advises Bebe to leave the city within 24 hours to avoid being targeted for the massacre. Despite initial objections, they agree, realizing the gravity of the situation. Bebe hides near the car, fearing the sudden gunfire earlier. When the gang completes their mission and returns to the hideout, they find 16 police officers approaching them. Bebe discreetly warns them to flee quickly. A tense standoff ensues, and Bebe tries to explain his hobby of mixing sounds with music, but the police dismiss it and deliver a powerful blow to him, causing him to faint. Upon regaining consciousness, Bebe finds himself bound but alive. The police recognize that it was just a hobby and stage a diversion. Dee, who also works at the restaurant, plays along. When Bat threatens to kill her, they stop him. After handing her the bag, he rushes back home to rescue his father and returns all the money he had collected from their operations. He apologizes to his father for the trouble he caused, as he had been sent to a retirement home after his last visit. He then goes to the restaurant to find Dee unexpectedly sitting there. Angry and hurt, he wants to make her experience the same pain. Before he can harm her, the police arrive at the restaurant, and he uses the bathroom as an escape route. He asks Doc for help, but Doc initially refuses. However, when he learns Bebe isn't alone, Doc decides to assist. He hands Bebe a bag of money and instructs him to leave the city with Debbie, the woman he truly loves. They encounter some of the gang members, who were responsible for Dee's near-death experience. Bebe manages to escape after a confrontation, but decides to confront them later. Bebe intentionally crashes Body's car from a building, but Body survives and saves himself, shooting 2 bullets near Bebe's ear due to his hearing problem. Bebe briefly loses consciousness. Upon waking up, he finds himself and Dee being pursued by the gang members who killed her in front of him. He decides to end it all, causing Body's car to fall from a building. The impact is fatal for Body, and Bebe faints from the pain. After the nightmare ends, Dee reveals she is pregnant. They decide to start a new life together, hoping for a peaceful life. However, they encounter the police in front of them. Bebe instructs them to surrender, and before Dee tries to escape in the car, he stops her, telling her she's not responsible for what happened. Bebe bids farewell to Dee and turns himself in. During Bebe's trial, all witnesses testify to his good character, and he receives a 25-year prison sentence but serves only 5 years due to good behavior. He spends his time in prison quietly, without any issues, and maintains contact with Dee. Throughout his prison term, Dave faithfully visits him, providing emotional support. She patiently awaits his release. As Bebe's prison sentence nears its end, Dee is there waiting for him with an expensive car. They leave the city together, playing loud music, just like they wished when they first met. I hope you enjoyed the film, and stay tuned for our next one. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. Goodbye.